There we go. Welcome, your backup plan tribe or black backup tribe or family. Welcome to our show today. I am so very excited. Our title today is No Matter the Challenges, You Too Still Can Make It. I'm changing that for a reason, and I will correct it on the screen for you because we still can do things. And I have an amazing guest today for our show. I'm so very excited. Hey, I'm Tina. I'm over here at Your Backup Plan app. I am the creator and developer of Your Backup Plan. I am a best-selling author in the blink of an eye, a financial advisor, and emergency preparedness coach. We are on all podcast platforms: YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, and Pinterest. I definitely am going to make a rap song about that. Okay, guys, I am definitely going to try and do that. We talk about real life stories here with their real amazing people like CL King that we have coming to you today from North Carolina. And it's about their amazing life-changing events in their lives, tragedies, traumas, or accidents, because in the blink of an eye, yeah, that's how quickly something happens. Something life-changing, something unexpected hits you. And there's no 5-minute evacuation notice. When you're having a car accident, you just say, hold on 1 second. I need 5 minutes before you hit me. It doesn't happen that way. And sometimes there's no time at all to make that right choice or the right decision or the right emotions to have during when you're capable of making those choices, to be in the right mental state of mind. We don't have choices in most cases. It just happens. And are we prepared? And that's why we created an app that would organize all of your details in case of any medical emergency, sudden death, unexpected tragedy, to avoid all those tremendous stress for you and your loved one. So let's get this party started. I am so excited to bring on CL King today. Wait till Hey, CL.
Hey, how is everybody doing out there?
Awesome. I am so excited to bring everybody, all our listeners, to listen to your exceptional, motivating stories. He is an author, an inspirational coach, a podcast host of Impacting Life 24/7. He's in year 4 now. He's beat me by 1 year. Master Life Coach, a founder and CEO of Impacting Life 24/7. He's out of North Carolina, United States. So welcome abroad, our family.
Yes.
Where did it all start for you, CL? You know, where did this venture start for you?
Well, it started way back in the year of 1975, if we go all the way to where it started. February the 6th. And so, for those of you keeping track, that's my birthday. And, I believe that there are some people who are born into uh, a pleasant situation, and there are some people that are born into adversity. I feel that I was born into a crucible of adversity. So it wasn't just that it was a peripheral situation. It was that it was a cauldron of adversity, and it was not just a one-off or one-time event. It was literally something that followed me, and that I deal with even 47 years later, Tina. So if you want me to get started and you walk with me, I could do that. Is that the way you want me to go?
Absolutely. I'm right beside you.
Because it's easy to interview a host because we know how to keep talking. You know what I'm saying?
That's it, unfortunately. Or
So
try. One of the two.
so let me just say to all of your listeners and all of the folks that support you at Your Backup Plan, I just want to say thank you so much for entrusting me, CL King, with your platform, Tina. I don't take it lightly. Listen, I don't just let anybody on our platform. I think that it's important that we respect the people that you work so hard to rally around your cause. And you don't want just some clown up here talking off the top of their head. But we do have a purpose in this industry. We have a reason why we're here. And so every time I'm guest to be on someone else's platform, anytime I get an opportunity to speak publicly, I always thank those folks to do it, because you're taking a risk. I might could just go off on the deep end and then we have to pull the plug on the show. But I promise you that I'm aware of the moment that we're living in. And I do believe that our societal norms have shifted a lot. And there still is a requirement. There still is a need for somebody like Tina. And there's still a need for somebody like CL that will say, yeah, wherever Tina is on the screen, there's still somebody like us that will say, hey, you know what? We want to put forth an impact message of positivity. There's enough negative going around, so let's just do our job as positive change agents. 1975, when I was born, I guess, to Don Lee Sharp and Sharon Ann King. And Don Lee Sharp, Reverend Don Lee Sharp, was an abusive alcoholic man who, in my mother's 9th month of pregnancy, I was told that he beat her over her back with crutches and broke crutches and pushed her down the stairs. And these are the stories that I was told as a young kid. And my life, even in the book, my life is broken down into chapters. It's broken down into chapters. So I was born into a situation where these two adults had not been married 6 months. They were married and divorced before I was born.
Oh my goodness, man.
What does that tell you?
I'm sure there's many people out there like that.
That's right. That you're not even getting a good start. You're not even getting a good cry in the delivery room, and your folks have split up. And around age 2.
Hold on. We lost you. StreamYard, come on. Come on.
I hear him.
There he comes. You're back.
Are we there?
You had a little second there of fading.
I got a hold of some paraphernalia, some alcoholic beverages that was in the back of my mother's car.
Uh-oh.
Are we good there?
Yeah, we're good now.
All right. Because I got a hold of some alcohol that was in the back of my mother's car, I was taken away from my mother at 3 years old. I was placed in my first foster home at 3. I don't remember much about it. I just knew that it was a white family with cows, and they were very loving. And then I got thrust. That's a chapter that I know very little about. You know what I'm saying? So I don't write a lot about that in my book, Who Ate My Brownie, No Matter the Adversity, You Still Can Make It. But when I do start having these recollections, they're about the time when I move in with my dad's mother, my paternal grandmother. And things were wonderful there. It was great. My grandfather was there, John Shedrick, Christine Shedrick. They were raising me. I didn't have the wherewithal to ask, why am I living with my grandmother and not with my dad or my mom? I just was there. And when John Shedrick died, all hell broke loose in Christine Shedrick's house. She would lock me in the basement. She would lock me outside in the detached garage with the dogs in the middle of winter. I remember sitting out there for hours and hours and hours on bales of hay with the dogs in the middle of winter, wondering, what in the world did I do to deserve to be out here with the dogs? And then late in night, she would bring me back in the house, and downstairs in the basement is where I would stay. And this type of behavior.
Why did it change, CL? Why did that change?
I don't know. I think John Shedrick, who was not my paternal grandfather. He was just
A
he was
stepfather?
yeah, he was a step grandfather, right?
Grandfather, yeah.
Right. So he was in the picture, and my grandmother was happy. Okay. She had companionship. You know what I'm saying? And it seemed like John Shedrick, who was a hardworking construction man, he was the stabilizer in the house. And when he left, it changed. It dramatically changed. Now, when I look back at that all these years later, and I do write about it in the book, I say, it was probably what shifted my grandmother's treatment towards me was because of the void that she had in her life missing her husband. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes
That's drastic.
when somebody's extracted from you, because John Shedrick was everything. He was an amazing man. And so, but this abuse went from being peripheral to being all the time. And so that chapter switches when I go to live with my dad. And let me make sure I get these chapters right in life, because this was so long time ago. I went to live with my dad for a season. And in my dad's house, I knew that my dad was violent, because from time to time after my grandfather passed away, he'd come over to my grandmother's house. He'd slap me, beat me, because he'd be drunk. He was always intoxicated. And when I went to go live with him is really when I realized how bad life could be.
And how
Because
old would you have been?
I would have been kindergarten age, because I remember going to
dear.
A.J. Rickoff Kindergarten School, right?
Oh.
And here's just a highlight that I write about in the book. I was a very nervous kid because I was always getting hit by him, right? So I had bowel problems, bedwetting, bowel movements, etc. One night I had an accident. We were away at an old church, and when we came back home, he said, "You need to wash your underwear." Filled up the tub and threw my underwear in the tub, and something triggered with him, and he came and held me under the tub, held me in the water in the tub. And I'm thrashing about trying to get out. I'm just like, and thinking in my mind, like my dad is trying to kill me, all because I had an accident. And I'm screaming, he's cussing me out. "Shut up, you dumb MF, blah, blah, blah." And it just, and that was a moment that is etched in my mind 37 years later or 38 years later. You know what I mean? I can never forget that image of someone who's supposed to be loving you to do that to you. It was more than that, though. It was drug abuse. It was alcoholism. It was women that he would bring over to the house. We only had one bedroom. I'm in the bedroom with him, pretending to be asleep while he's in the bedroom having relations with a woman. Imagine a kid in kindergarten, first grade, being exposed to that.
Oh my
Are
goodness.
you understanding this is what I'm trying to get people to understand when we talk about?
See, it just gets worse and worse.
Yeah, this is what I'm trying to get people to understand. When I say that I was born in a crucible of adversity, it wasn't just a one-off. It just wasn't a every now and then. This became a lifestyle. It was like I was melted into. That's what a crucible is. It takes metal and melts it, right? And I was melted into this adversity, to this behavior, and I'm just like, why? And then
what kind of man does that? I mean, I understand addiction.
I asked that question, Tina, in the book. What was going through his mind to treat his son like that? And this is why, Tina. This is why, Tina, I a lot of people, when they hire me to come speak for them, I do warn them. I said, listen, I'm intense. Right?
You don't sugarcoat your story.
Right. Don't ask me to come and be philosophical, because I'm not that guy. But the truth of the matter is that because of the way we are forged, then I want to express that same passion. You know what I mean? It was a violent forging of my life. The next chapter is with my mother. I may have lived with her, I don't even know, maybe a year and a half, 2 years. We ate in soup kitchens. We ate in homeless shelters. We walked everywhere. We had no form of transportation. She was put in jail oftentimes with just me and my sister left with my mom's husband to take care of us. That was our stepdad. I watched my sister get physically and sexually abused. I was physically and sexually abused under that house, under the banner of where you're supposed to be safe. So I moved from my grandmother's who was, just deprivation. I moved to my dad's, who was abuse and attempted murder, to now moving to a place where I'm thinking, okay, can it get any worse?
No.
Kids, Tina, kids used to, in the back of the apartment, one of the apartments I remember us living at, in the back of the apartment, a kid would come out, a little white kid. I write about this in the book. He would ball up bread and push it through the fence to me, because I was severely malnutrition. When I went to school, I was getting double breakfasts and double lunches.
Oh my goodness.
It was
a total abusive home, because right from the food to hygiene, right?
Right. Everything. And so you got to think now, being sexually abused and physically abused, you start to question what is right and what is wrong as a young kid. So the title of my book, for those of you who may can see this video, is called Who Ate My Brownie? And somebody says, well, why is it called that, right?
Yeah.
Well, because we always ate at soup kitchens and homeless shelters, right? And her husband, Michael Pendergrass, brought back a brownie from the homeless shelter. He didn't take me and my sister that night. He brought back one little corrugated plate, a little white plate with one brownie on it, Tina. And my mother said, put it in the refrigerator. I'll get it tomorrow. And that night I was so hungry, Tina. I'm talking about, well, I know what real hunger is. I do intermittent fasting now just to try to stay skinny.
Yeah. You didn't need to then.
Right. But back then, we would talk about food, me and my sister, just to try to make our hunger pains go away. And that night, I snuck into that kitchen, man, and broke a little piece off of that brownie. And I probably went back 10 or 15 times, breaking a piece off, reforming it so it would be square. Maybe in the inner.
They won't notice.
Maybe they won't notice. All the way until it was completely gone, Tina. And the next morning, my mother said, who ate my brownie?
Oh, dear.
She said, unless you guys tell me, this is just me and my sister. My 2-year-old, she's two years older than Melinda Diane. My mother said, listen, if you don't tell me, if one of you...
Oh, hold on.
Hold on. Confess, I'm going to beat you every single day.
Oh, my goodness. Hold on, I lost you. Hold on with the story. This is Mercury retrograde at its finest. Yeah, there you come. You're coming back now.
Yeah, we're looping.
There's always these little blips.
Yeah.
Okay, she said she'll beat you every day.
Yeah, we'll beat me and my sister every day. But what we got whooped with, Tina, was an item that is the same material that a car fan belt is made out of. I'm 47 and I still have those welts on my body today. And this is the time period when I was 11. I would remember going into school and they would take me into closets and take off my shirt and look at the welts on my back, on my legs. It was something that I was saying, hey, look, my dad punched me. My dad open hand slapped me. He tried to hold me under the tub, but I never got beat with something like that. It was torture. And I left that next morning, Tina. I did not stick around to see if she was going to fulfill her promise. I walked out the front door, left the front door wide open, and lived on the streets of Cleveland until I was put into social services. I was a homeless kid at 11 years old. Being street savvy, I knew to go to soup kitchens. Being street savvy, I knew to go to homeless shelter. Being street savvy, I knew to steal stuff from the store. This is in my book. This is not a fairy tale. This is like, I could see it just as vividly as it is today. I remember kissing my sister and walking out the front door. And I got put into two more group homes. I'm expediting the story. Got put into two more group homes where in both of the group home times I was sexually assaulted by the kids there because I was 12 and they were 16, 17, 18 years old. So I was the young, fresh meat there.
Yeah.
So you go from a grandmother's house to a dad's house to a mother's house to a group home where you're thinking finally you'll be safe, and yet these behaviors, these atrocities are still committed.
But you think that probably the homeless place was probably the best place you were at. Could you say that? Do you think?
Well, I didn't stay at the homeless shelter all the time. I would roam the streets. I would sleep under the 25th Street Bridge. I had a lot of resources for just being gone. And some nights it was just walking the streets, watching the sun go down and watching it come back up. That's one of the most amazing phenomena, to be walking around aimlessly throughout the streets of Cleveland. And just when the sun goes down and you walk long enough to where it comes back up.
But I guess you were thinking, I mean, how much worse could it get?
Right. And so, finally getting put back in social services, they got me into those two group homes. And then they put me into a foster home in Lorain, Ohio, where things were settled there, but it wasn't, it was a different kind of settled. Along the journey of being at that foster home, we were accosted, me and my other foster brother, not necessarily kidnapped, but persuaded to go stay with two 30-year-old women. Now, I was 13, he was 14 or 15, and these were grown adults. They exposed us to all types of drug paraphernalia, sexual behaviors that kids should not be involved in, and experiences that really messed up my mind.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And
crazy.
And so when you think about all of that was happening after this eating the brownie, you would say, well, dog, it seemed to just got worse. But I will tell everyone listening this, and I want to speak to you clearly, that the brownie is that moment. It's that choice. It was like, if I hadn't have eaten that brownie, where would I be today? And I challenge people to think about, what was that moment in your life, that nexus, that intersection that says, you know what, if this had not have happened, where would I be today? So I'm thankful for the brownie. I'm thankful for the group home. I'm thankful for that foster home. Because I got extracted from that foster home because of some allegations that were made by the other kid, not against me, but by the parents, against the parents. So I was getting ready to be placed in another foster home, and Ruth E. Plowden on the other side of Lorain, Ohio, said, I want you to send Chris King to me. Now, Ruth Plowden is my last foster mom. I'm sitting in the Ruth E. Plowden legacy chair. She had 83 foster kids over 35 years.
Oh.
She would take any kid. She wouldn't reject them. And when I left that group home the second time, because I had to go back to the group home before going to Mom Plowden's, I showed up at her door with 2 trash bags of clothes, and that's it. And my foster mom said to me, she said, Chris, you can take everything that has happened to you, because they see your record, they see what's going on. Because my foster mom took sexual offenders, she took everybody. She 6 kids at a time. She'd have 6 kids in that house at all times. And when she brought me there, she said, listen, you can take all of that stuff and use it as an excuse, because you got some good excuses, Chris. You got some valid reasons why you should fail in society. You got the resume, my friend.
You sure do.
Or you can use that stuff to change the world. And I listened to her. And she got me connected. This is in chapter 6, I believe, when I showed up there, chapter 7 and chapter 8. She got me connected with Church on the North Coast, Pastor Lewis and Tina Canton, who took me in as this 14-year-old little black kid from the hood. And they showed me what love truly meant. They showed me that Jesus was important in your life. They showed me how to do ministry. I'm probably the greatest speaker in all time because of them. They gave me opportunity that I never would have been exposed to before. had I not eaten that brownie. And I graduated from high school, went into the Marine Corps. I'm married with 7 kids, make more money now than I've ever made in my life, live in the house that I want, drive the car I want, never abuse one of my kids any way that I was treated as a kid. And thanks be to God that I went through all of that, because now, nearly 500,000 people later, Tina, I share this story around the country and throughout the world, that no matter the adversity, what? You still can make it. And that's the story.
Absolutely. So it sounded like your life, like God brought you this woman, because everything changed after that.
It did. She is an angel. I got to eulogize her when she passed away in 2013. She had 83 foster kids, and I got to give one of the eulogies there. Ruth E. Plowden was my mom. We called her mom, and she was a little old white lady she was raised in the projects in Lorain, Ohio, and she took in all these disadvantaged children. And I'm still trying to fulfill that legacy where she said, you can use it to change the world. That's why I feel like my mission is so important. Like my staff sometimes is like, King, can you chill out? I'm supposed to be on vacation. But when you said, hey, let's get together and do a podcast, I said, you know what? There could be one person that could hear this episode that has gone through, because, there's 50 to 60 million adults, Tina, that have been sexually abused, that carry it around.
Yeah.
Do you know that? Do you know that there are over 400,000 kids in foster care in America right now? You know that 1 in 7 of the kids that are in social services are in group homes?
Not crazy.
And what society has done, y'all just forgive me for a minute, but what society has done is just sat back and said, man, that's unfortunate.
That's true.
Yeah, man, too bad for those folks. You know what I'm saying, Tina? Is it not true?
It's so true.
Right. Listen, Tina, listen to me. I go speak. We partnered with Sheriff Chip Hughes, the county sheriff. And I said, listen, Craven County Sheriff. I said, I want to come to your place. I am the impact motivator. Your folks won't ever hear nobody like me. I understand the churches come, but I'm not coming to do church. They can have the church. I believe in God, but they need a little something else. I do something that the church ain't doing. Right. I said, and Chip said, you know what? We've never done that before. Let's go. Come on, King. So our staff goes there every single month. We have not missed since we started. I don't care if it's Christmas. I go there Christmas, birthday.
Oh, frozen.
Do you know this, Tina? Did we get unfrozen?
Yeah, we're unfrozen.
You can't freeze the impact motivator because he's on a roll.
No, that's it. Uh-oh.
I'll let the system catch up to us.
You have to catch up to us here.
Probably just needing to catch up to CL. That's all. I get letters.
There we go. We got to catch up to you. We got to catch up to you.
Jesus. I get letters from the residents at the jail. I asked them, I said, listen, tell me what you think about what I'm doing. Tell me what you think about what my team is doing. Do you know that the last time I was there, which was the second week in December, a young lady wrote me in the piece of paper, and she said, I remember when you came to my school when I was in the 7th grade.
Holy cow.
She's 22 now and incarcerated. She said, you inspired me when I was in the 7th grade. And I said, well, doggone it, I didn't do enough inspiration. Inspiration is not enough. You've got to act on what you hear. So when I go to the jail, those residents don't want nothing sugar-coated. They don't want some mealy mouth pat you on the back because they're in a place where they're restricted. They can't move. They can't do what they want. So I've got to convince them that even in incarceration, you still can make it. And then I got a lady who just purchased my book. And she messaged me and she said, My granddaughter, now this is a totally separate one, totally different one. She said, my granddaughter is at the jail that you speak at, and she's got your book. So this is why we do this. This is why, because you never know that one life that you encounter could be the one life that's been hungering for you to come. Look, Ruth E. Plowden gave the same opportunity to all 83 foster kids. Not all 83 of them took advantage of it. We lived in suburbia, Lorain, Ohio, beautifully manicured lawns, church on the North Coast, just a stone's throw away, a support system out of this world. And some of the foster kids did not take advantage of it.
But you have to wonder sometimes when you're all given the same opportunity, why some people just, float along life and just say, well, woe is me, and just keep going that way. And others like yourself are just, there's got to be something better out there.
Well, you know what? When you're right. You're telling the truth. When you've been hungry, when you've been beat, when you've been neglected and left out in the cold, when you finally get someone to show you you're better than that. It wasn't just that they cared. They demonstrated to me that I should care. And now at 47, going on 48 in February the 6th, right? I recognize that it's my mission. I've done it with my kids. I've got 7 children. All of them are out the house except one. So now my mission was to impart what Ruth E. Plowden told me into them. I wasn't always right. I wasn't always perfect. I blew it a lot as a dad. But I did not repeat the sins of my father. You know what I mean? I did not repeat the errors of my mother. And it was because Ruth E. Plowden said, you got it in here. Okay, she empowered me to exercise what she said. See, when those residents get out of the jail, they will be empowered to exercise what I tell them every month. Now, the temptations, I can't make the temptations go away. I can't make the opportunities to go back and get you an 8 ball. I can't make that stuff go away. The only thing that I can do is put something in you to enact, to empower you. And it still comes down to the choice. Notice the book says in the subtitle, no matter the adversity, you, not social services, not the government, not a handout, you still can make it. And at the end of the day, Tina, it still comes down to the individual choice.
That's right. So let me ask you this. What do you think about Twitch then?
What is that?
We just went all through this last week with Twitch passing away. What do you think with your story? How could we have helped him?
Well, here's the deal. I'm thinking you're talking about a program. I'm like, I was not up to speed on the gentleman because there's a line in, I'll answer your question, but there's a line in A Christmas Carol that Ebenezer Scrooge says. He's like, my business occupies me constantly, so I don't have time to fool around in the affairs of other people's business. Not that was not my business, but I was so engrossed in what was going on here at the ranch that I didn't even know who the man was. I had no clue. But that speaks to a broader sense of, are we, because the gentleman looked like he was happy. He recorded great videos. And here's what I can say. We never know, and you never know, what is going on in the life of somebody that's standing right next to you. You never know. You know, people see you, Tina, they think, wow, she's a successful podcast entrepreneur, blah, blah, blah. They see CL, they're like, oh man, he's got a beautiful family, blah, blah, blah. They see Twitch, he's on Ellen, he's a dancer, blah, blah, blah. But you never know what's going on in the life of someone else. And you know what I do, what I try to do, Tina? I could just tell you this. I cannot answer for the situation that happened with him.
Yeah.
But what I try to do is I try to pick up the phone or send a text to people that God puts on my heart, who I may know peripherally. Maybe they're going through something, or maybe they're not. And that little word of encouragement, man. I talk about this in one of my speeches. Lord, help me to get one more, from the movie Hacksaw Ridge. He kept going back in the face of adversity to pull and rescue the troops. But the guy had to do it. Desmond Doss had to go back and get him. And oftentimes we're too busy watching Netflix and popping popcorn. Our lack of engagement is probably why that situation happened. He probably didn't have someone in his life that was speaking into his life. So they were looking at all the peripheral, and it's like, oh, this guy's got it together. But man, yeah. I have people in my life who know the real Chris King, and they speak into my life, and they lift me up when I'm down. And I, in turn, do that to other people, because no man is an island unto himself, and we need each other. And I can't, that is suicide is one of those things that I leave it to the hands of God. I can't speak for why. I can just speak for what we need to do going forward. And right. I love what Shirley Thiessen says about a friend of hers who ministers to her every month on the day that her son passed away. Every single month without fail for 10 years. She sends her a text, a note, a call every single month on that day. Now that is consistency, isn't it?
That's real passion.
That's real passion. That's real love. That's real concern. She said, it's not always flowery. It's not always some long drawn out poem. It could be just, hey, thinking about you. Man. Yeah. And I'm telling you what, when I get messages like that and I'm having a rough day, and to know that somebody cares, what is it that would cause someone to feel like the only answer is to take their life? Do they feel like nobody cares? Do they feel like there's no way out? This is why that word still, Tina, is so important. Still, as long as you have breath, you have hope.
I don't think you were thinking that when you were in the doghouse, though, were you?
No, it was a pretty hopeless situation. But I did always have in the back of my mind, it's not going to always be like this. This can't be it. Even as an 8, 9, 4, 5, 6, 7 years old, even at 10, 11 on the streets, even at 14, living in a foster home. I was raised in the system. So all the way up to 18, I graduated from the social services system. I wasn't with a loving family. And even though, yes, I was with Ruth Plowden, but what I'm saying is I wasn't with my biological family. So even though Ruth Plowden is the zenith.
Oh, hold on.
Did you get?
No, it's just coming back, I think now. We're back.
Hello.
There we go.
Okay. So I said,
oh,
the apex of greatness. Even though she was all the things that she was, I was still a foster kid.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you're still living with someone that's not your blood, and that plays on you. You know what I mean? It's a reality. But I think she put so much in me that it was a short period. I lived there from age 14 to age 18. And then I went and joined Uncle Sam's military. So it wasn't 20 years of investment.
No, but what do you think happened in her life that she was doing this for all those people like yourself? What do you think happened?
I have no clue. I'll be honest with you. Her life, the rest of her life is a mystery to me. I really don't know. I've not looked into it. I just know that she was a chapter in all those chapters that I laid out for you today. She was a chapter. Now, she obviously was a Christian, a God-fearing woman who loved the lost. She loved helping hurting people. Mm-hmm. And so she didn't just talk about it. She did it. And that's the difference. with, like I said, Desmond Doss. He didn't just talk about it, he was about it. He went and activated it. And oftentimes we do a lot of good talking, but we do very little acting.
Very little doing, I say.
Yeah.
And I find that with people anyways, even in social media. You'll notice you'll do a post and there's very little comments. Or sometimes I find TikTok more so for people that want to comment, and it's like, do you have a life? Why do you have to just write that in there? Because
Right.
did it make you happy?
Right.
Like I just never understand that. And you never know when what you say or comment on something, listeners out there, that it's going to have an impact on the person or people that are reading it.
That's the truth. That's the truth, Tina.
And so what do you think? I'm all about being better prepared for life. That's, why we created your backup plan anyways, because when something happens and shit hits the fan, usually, unless you're very well prepared, and even celebrities aren't prepared for what comes their way either. And they have all the means of money, and they have all the means of people, like
Right.
Michael Jackson. And I mean, they had all the means,
Right.
but they weren't prepared. So I'm not really sure what makes us better prepared, like to want to be better prepared, because I think we don't think anything's going to happen. Like Michael Tyson says, you don't, what does he say? I say it all the time on my shows. You'd think I'd have it, but after a brain injury, it sometimes escapes me. Sorry about that. But
He
it
said
says,
something like you got a good plan until you get punched in the mouth.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And it's true.
Yeah.
It's very true in so many ways. And I mean, I only look after one little part of the paperwork and the decisions and the wishes. But people have to realize there's more to planning than even just that. There's spiritually, there's emotionally. And that's what I try to eliminate by you having a better plan, is to have people that can take that away, that emotional part, because it's so heavy when someone gets sick or dies in your life.
That's so true.
And I don't think we give it enough credit. And I think back in the days, when we go back to the 50s or 60s, or even earlier, they would wrap their important documents up in brown paper and shove it up in the rafters and say, this is where all my documents are if you need it.
Right.
What do we do now? Like, our stuff is like literally everywhere.
Yeah.
It's in the cloud. It's, it's on the internet. It's in your filing cabinet or in your drawer in the kitchen or in the closet, and God only knows where it is.
Yeah. Well, that having a plan is important, and having a backup plan is even more important. And
in life in general, right?
in life in general, yeah. One of the disciplines that I'm certified in is Lean Six Sigma, and that's basically like a continual process improvement discipline. So but it's a very strategic, very measured out, very articulable process. If you're going to find out how to eliminate defects, then you got to go through a process. And in life, I tell those people in the jail, those great residents, I tell them that you've got to determine your plan for after being in here. Like I'll just give you 5 of them real quick.
Isn't that the hardest time though, is when they come out? Isn't that like
Yes,
usually
but
when they have to go back in?
this is why they brought me there, to reduce recidivism, which means going back into jail, right? But the reason why we could find those that have a plan and work the plan compared to those that are just like, well, I'm gonna get out and trust God. That's okay. I appreciate you trusting God, but even God says a man that doesn't consider building a house shouldn't build it, because you got to have a plan to build a house. It's not just saying I want a house. You got to have a plan to do it. You're going to go to war. You got to have a plan to go to war. You can't just go because you're going to lose. So I asked them, I said, hey, what is it that you want to be? Don't just say, or I said, where do you want to be? And I say, don't just say, I want to be out of here. That's not a plan. Where do you want to be? Do you want to be with your wife and kids? Do you want to be back? Where do you want to be? And you force them to look at the where. Like I tell them, I said, where do I want to be this time next year? I want to be a 7-figure speaker. It was going to cost you 7 figures to get me to come speak. This next one is, when do you want to be there? Like, you want to be there, but when? You know, because you done played this circle, you've been around this loop, you've been around this tree for so long, you don't even know when, because you don't even have a concept of time. You're just in here on Uncle Sam's dime. When do you want to be where you said you want to be? And then I asked him, I said, and then how in the world are you going to get there? How? It's not just where, it's not just when, but how. Then I asked him, I said, what isn't this so cool? And I wrote this a long time ago, y'all. I said, what is your alternate plan?
There you go.
What's
your backup plan?
Come on, somebody. Who knew that I'd be on the backup plan show today? And what is your alternate or backup plan? See, because at the first opportunity for temptation and failure, you better have a backup plan. You better have an alternative. I want to be back with my baby mama. Well, what if she don't want you? What if Jerome done moved in? What's your backup plan? Right? And that's the way I talk in the jail. Lord have mercy. We talk just like that. So look, I gotta hurry. So here's the next two. Determine how you're going to stay there. It's not just good that you get there, but determine how you're going to stay there. Understand this, that we talked about Mike Tyson. Is Mike Tyson the heavyweight champion of the world today? Nope. Because somebody came and knocked him off his throne, right?
Yeah.
Why did he get knocked out, though? Because he stopped preparing like the ravenous animal that he was early on, right? He stopped training like the warrior that he was, right? And father time. But when you think about that, okay, that's one thing. I think about it from my perspective.
Oh, hold that thought. Hold the thought. Hold the thought. Uh-oh. It's coming. He's coming back. It froze on us here for a second. Where'd you go? I can hear you. You're back.
Right, let me know when we're back.
There you go. It's coming. This is crazy, isn't it? This Mercury retrograde. Jeez, yeah, you're back. Yay.
The last thing I say to them is to determine why they want to be there. Because when I go around the room, I talk to the female block and I talk to the male block. Do you know that probably 70% of those ladies that I talk to are mothers that have kids that are not grown? If that ain't your why, then all the other steps that I told you, they ain't gonna do nothing. You're not first temptation. You're gonna go smoke a joint. You're gonna go, you know what I mean? Your why. Why do you want to be where you said you want to be? Why? And so that's what you're right. The plan and when people do not live that plan, you often see them go awry. Sometimes, Tina, it's because of what. Number one, it's obviously because of my commitment to my wife and also to the commitment to my children. that my why keeps me from getting in trouble, getting into a mess, right?
Yes.
It may not be because I have the greatest amount of self-discipline, but I understand my why.
But your why could be part of you too. I mean,
That's right.
you could
And
be, you're doing it for you.
that's right. Exactly. But sometimes, when I look at those kids, or I look at my young kids when they were little, I look at my boys looking up at me and I'm their hero, then I can't go crazy. I can't give in to my fleshly desires just because I'm grown and I can do that. No, man, my why is a legacy. My why is a generation, cuz. So anyway,
It's the bigger picture.
it is the bigger picture. You're right.
Right? I think people get caught up in this little window of just seeing their life at the moment, but not looking at the bigger, broader picture of all of those things that you mentioned. That's great. And don't forget, everybody, listeners, CL King's information of all of his websites and book is in the description box below. Don't forget that. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to do that because we love you here and we love to have you come back all the time. And, smash that like button because then we can share that with others just like you. CL, what do you think what do you have for the listeners? I'm sure you have something up your sleeve for your final message.
Well, I want you to understand this, that first of all, I'm going to close with thanking you guys for putting up with me for God only knows how long I've been talking. It just seems like 5 minutes. But
It
I
does.
will say this, that there is a bell in Russia that weighs 400,000 pounds. It's called the Tsar bell. It's known as the largest bell in the world. But there is a 25,000-pound piece broke off of that bell. The bell never rang. It's never rang. It's only been sitting on a pedestal in the Kremlin. It has the title of a bell, but it doesn't do what a bell is supposed to do. We've been put on this earth for such a short amount of time to ring into other people's lives. Ruth E. Plowden, she rang into my life. I heard her ringing every day. Chris, you can do it. Chris, blah, blah, blah. She rang every day. And those sounds that she rang, now I ring into the lives of others. Don't be like the Tsar bell, just in title with a bell. You're the title of a bell, but you never fulfill your purpose. You got a purpose for something bigger than what you are and who you are. Go ahead and ring and let God use you. God bless you. Have a great 2023.
Oh, that was beautiful. Did that come from mostly from her?
From Ruth Plowden?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. She needs to come back. Maybe she's around somewhere.
Oh, she is. She's watching me right now.
Ah, she's amazing and still giving you those tips. And I'm sure that pat on the back for you too.
Yes, ma'am.
I just said that it's amazing how things come around just to throw it back in your face, because last week I had a tough time and I put words out there and said, just touch somebody today. Just over Christmas, touch somebody. And look what you brought up again.
Mm-hmm.
It's so true. That's amazing. Thank you. Thank you for coming on the show today. It was amazing. Thank you. If we could have an audience and clap there, we would do that. We would definitely do that. So awesome. Thank you, CL. I appreciate your time and your effort and everything that you do to help others as well. It's amazing. Thank you so very, very much.
Thank you so much, Tina.
We are not Superman. But we may act like we are because nothing is going to happen. And I'm sure if I said to CL, because he's a perfect man out there in the world, he would say nothing's going to happen to me. You know, I just see that mostly with men. They just think they're, I've got the muscles, I've got the strength, nothing's going to happen to me. So I don't have to get prepared, but we do. We have so many things to plan and prepare for. And we look at the world around us and, the shootings in the schools and the streets and the work accidents and the car accidents and the overdoses and the pandemic, not to mention the crazy wars and the natural disasters, wildfires and the floods and hurricanes around the world. And we're still not prepared. Even after all of that comes in our life and hits us, we're still not prepared. So I'm here to tell you, let's get prepared. It's easy. Smash that like button. And if you are thinking about that special someone today that you can just pick up the phone and call or send a message to, like CL mentioned, and I say it in every one of my podcasts, do it, because you don't know what tomorrow might bring. Take that moment now, today, when you're listening to this show. That being said, I always end with Carol Burnett, because she made us all happy. And CL, you know who Carol Burnett is. I'm definitely, she was on one of your shows, I'm sure, that you listened to growing up. I'm so glad we had this time together just to have a laugh or sing a song. Seems we just get started. And before you know it, comes a time we have to say, so long. So long, everybody. It was a pleasure to have you, CL. I'll definitely have you come back. There's so much more to say. It's an hour goes by so quickly with you. So thank you.
Thank you. And God bless everybody up there in great Canada. We love and appreciate you all.
Oh, well, we love and appreciate everything you do as well. So everybody, stay safe, be kind, and expect the unexpected. Bye for now.